Hello, my listening audience. I am back with another serious video message about celebrities that were murdered and replaced with either cloned artificial life form versions of themselves or just hired lookalikes or whatever. And today's subject is singer-songwriter producer Christina Aguilera, and she's one of my favorite vocalists beside Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and Josh Groban. And before I get into this message, to quote Tiario, I would like to say, if you're not spiritual, this message is not for you. If you're the kind of person that thinks everything is a joke and a game, this message is not for you. If you want to continue to follow all the lies that you've been fed by the devil's crowd, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, and the devil's crowd all of your life, then this message is not for you. If you want to continue to follow false religion and denominational systems, then this message is not for you. But moving on, for a long time now, I would say as far back as 2002, I know something hasn't been right about this Christina Aguilera character. But before I move on, I'm gonna just inform you people to whom it may concern. Messages like these are not popular because the truth has always offended people. And basically, if you don't believe in this kind of stuff, then it's very offensive. And it's just best that if you don't believe in God, or that that there's a devil, that there's a heaven, that there's a hell, that the Bible is a bunch of fairy tales, that dreams and visions are myths, then you just need to heed this cautionary warning or disclaimer and just click away from the video. Because if you get upset or mad or offended, then it's not my fault. And don't come up here and keep telling me that Christina Aguilera's age, that she has weight fluctuations, and that's why she looks different. Look now. First of all, this is the changes that these products go through. I'm gonna just call them products or brand names or name brands, because that's what they are to the powers that be. Basically, they're not humans. They're just merchandise to peddle to the masses, to not only get them to not only to fool and lie and trick and deceive them, but to get them to take to accept the Antichrist when he comes and take on the mark of the beast. And once you take on the mark of the beast, there's absolutely no forgiveness. Your soul's doomed to a devil's hell for sure. There's no going back. So, and basically these celebrities have been put out there, and Satan himself is behind it, is to lead people away from God. And to basically make them either miss the rapture or miss heaven altogether. And what you've been told all your life has been a lie. And firstly, I would just like to say that, of course, I might get into this in a separate video, and since this isn't going to be my only video about Christina Aguilera, I'll definitely be doing more in the future, because there's only so much you can fit into 15 minutes of video commentary analysis, or 15 minutes of video footage. So if you come up here telling me, if you disagree, fine, but be reasonable and mature about it. And don't keep telling me, because you people have told me this like a gazillion 57 million times. Classic sir. You're basically repeating what the Illuminati has told you. I'm not listening. I'm not falling for it. I believe lies long enough. And now that God showed me the truth, it's actually quite liberating. And getting down to the subject at hand, I believe Christina Aguilera, I personally believe the original one, she was replaced shortly before the Christina Aguilera product blew up back in 1999. Christina Aguilera name and image or whatever has been was blowed up. She was replaced before that time. And when you saw in the reflection video and on a certain performance, I'm not going to say which one it was, but that was the original Christina Aguilera. And the thing I noticed was that her mannerisms were slightly different. And For some reason, I always liked her with shorter. I preferred her with shorter hair, and I believe it's because she was born a boy. And somebody says that can't be. I mean, maybe maybe God intended for her to be a female originally, but at the time of her conception, the eugenicists or genetic engineers. I'm not saying she was a clone, but I'm talking the original one right now. I'm talking about the replicated artificial life forms that took her place later on or stood in for her in the early days. But at the moment of her conception, they tampered with her DNA and probably added an X chromosome in so that she would be a boy or a hermaphrodite or whatever. But that's why I always prefer her with short hair, because that's why I like that tomboyish look about her. And plus she had a very professional kind of sweetness. She was very ethereal early on. In this right here, I believe this is the real Christina Aguilera. I mean, look how sweet she looks, and her figure is a bit boyish. And that's how I know she was born a boy. One way I know is that she made an appearance on Saturday Night Live. I don't know how long ago it was, because I haven't really followed this Christina Aguilera product ever since I haven't followed her in recent years, because when out there imposter replace, I just can't connect with them anymore. Because my spirit, God has given me the gift of discernment, and history has shown that I'm a good judge of character. And when something's not right about a person and I can't quite put my finger on it, and I always know that there's more to the story, God eventually, he makes a way there so that, I'll find out what it is. But this is a promo photo taken, I think, for the first album. I think Christina was probably the real Christina, by the way. I believe she was killed shortly after this and replaced, because even with the Christina Aguileras that, became famous, there was something always a bit bland about them. But the real Christina was an exotic beauty, and, she was humble, she was nice, and she was sweet and modest and stuff like that. And she was in that skit, back to the skit that I saw on Saturday Night Live, when she did the Sex in the City kind of thing. And she actually said, and, she did with a lot of emphasis, she said that, well, you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a dude. I mean, she said it like that. She drawled it out. And right then I know that I knew that what I suspected was the truth, because there's really no genuine females within the entertainment industry. They're all transvestites, and if there are any females, then they're being passed off as, they're either very, very few of them, or they're being passed off as, which I seriously doubt there's even few of them, they're being passed off as males. And this is Christina Aguilera, the year and a half. That looks like that's obviously a little boy wearing a little pink dress. And even though she was a boy, I mean she's still beautiful and things like that. Here's another picture of her performing back in her early days. This was probably, I think, in 91, 92 or something. And this is also a little boy. I mean, look at the strong square jawline and stuff. And, she also gives off a masculine energy that, can't be masked no matter what. I mean, you can't, there's another thing you don't have control over is, the energy profiles and stuff. Here's another photo from, I would say 1998, and this is the real Christina. I mean, somebody said, how do you know? But sometimes I can't always tell based on appearance, but, it's more of a spiritual thing. And once again, this is a boy. This is no girl. And I always thought her singing voice was a bit, I don't know, masculine. It always had that bit of a masculine tone to it. And one way I know, back to, besides personality and energy profiles that she gave off, I noticed that, before she was famous, she had the timbre, the Christina Aguilera pre-fame had a different timbre to her voice, just like the Mariah Carey of old, the original Mariah Carey, the one that, only lived to be 22 years old. The real Christina, there she is again. The real Christina she had a deep, her voice was deeper and more, and there she goes again, and she actually looks a little different, but she's still gorgeous and stuff. She looks a little different from the ones that, hit the big time a year later. I mean, later, after she was replaced, you people get the picture. But, see how humble she looks a bit mischievous and all that kind of stuff, but, she doesn't look evil or anything. She looks very, humble and laid back, and this is also a male, being passed off as a female. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have a problem with it, but the thing that really gets to me is the fact that, we've been deceived by this stuff for so long. And once again, this is a little boy with long hair, and I always thought that, she has like and they say being Hispanic or Latino isn't really a race, but, it's a conglomeration of a lot of races like black, white, Jewish, Polish, Indian, and even Asian. But, it was like a little Spanish, like she looks Spanish except for she has blonde hair and blue eyes. And this is a little boy right here with long hair. She always struck me as being a boy for some reason, even before I knew the truth about all of this stuff. And somebody said, well, she has narrow shoulders. How can she be a boy? Maybe somehow, when she grew, it's either genetic or as she grew, the shoulders didn't really catch up. They forgot to catch up or something. And once again, this is a boy. But back to the voice of the real Christina. She had a deeper voice that even to this day, it doesn't, you listen to the song Reflection, the voice, it was more, you get the picture, it was lower in pitch, and even to this day, it doesn't sound like that. And that's how I know that, they've taken her out. They've replaced her. She's no longer with us. And here she is again. Very beautiful, very relaxed, very humble. I had to do a part 2 of this because my time is growing short. And here again is the original Christina. And the one on the right is basically a mannequin. It's a doll. And this picture was taken back in, I would say, October or November of 2002. And look at the expression. There's no life to it at all. It's a living creature, but it's an artificial life when the body is just, it's just too perfect. It's not. But the one on the left, the real Christina, she looks more natural. She has a more raw, natural human look. Even the neck is on the real Christina is a little thicker. And that's another way I know that, she's a male. She's really a guy. And the thing about her having a baby and getting married and all that stuff, that was all a lie. I think Jordan Bratman was a female anyways, and assigned to be Christina Aguilera's handler. And I noticed that after she had become famous, she'd give live performances. I noticed that the voice was unusually high in pitch when she sang gave performances of songs like Reflection and stuff. The voice, it just wasn't as strong, and it was higher in pitch. And and she had a slightly little more arrogant persona and things of that nature. And this right here is definitely not Christina. This creature looks very plastic and just fake. And it looks as if, fillers have been added to the face and so forth. Somebody said, well, she maybe gained weight, but way celebrities quote unquote age or, have other changes, it's not congruent with the way that, naturally born human beings change. And this is how I know that, yeah, this was the appearance that she made with that horrible wig, and that's obviously a transvestite. It's not a real person at all. And this is the kind of mess that y'all been following all of this time, because by 2002, I was very hurt by the fact that I was like, I wonder what happened to this person. Why did she become so bitchy all of a sudden, whereas she was, sweet and gentle and loving beforehand. And this is also a clone. This was taken back in late 2003 when, she had settled down a bit and then acted slutty and have it as bad an attitude. And she looks Latina here. She's pretty. It's not a real person. It's not the real Christina at all. But since my time is almost up, I'm going to have to close this out. With all that said, I'm out. Godspeed you all. Peace.